Hi, welcome to my channel. This October is hitting me a lot different than I thought it would. Hold on. I'm trying to force myself to stick to my commitments. It's really hard. I'm very tempted to procrastinate, put things off. And you can put things off to the point where it never gets done. And that is not what we want. That is not what we want. So, of course, we all are dealing with this thing called life. I don't know why this lady is driving around folks' neighborhood. Anyway, what I do know is I've been getting a lot of downloads, right? And specifically, some of the downloads that I've been getting has to do with evolving, right? Now, we're told that, pretty much we have to prepare for the next life. And that's true. That is very true. A lot of people, they know that innately. And a lot of them know that they didn't prepare, for an evolution. That they had kind of blew their opportunity in procrastination, in distraction, and that's a terrible thing. And a lot of them don't even realize, because they feel that way, they're going to be operating out of fear, right? It's like going into an area where you feel like you made a wrong turn. Okay, you made a wrong turn, and you're lost, and you're trying to figure out where to go from here. Okay? And feeling lost doesn't feel good. All right? So, of course, men, even though they claim to be leaders, they're very lost because they don't know what their role is, and they're still seeking to get direction from women. So, in the effort of trying to get direction from women, they figure they'll give the direction to women, right? You hear how they will say, you get what you give is what you get, right? So men figure if they direct women, that they'll get what they need in return, which is direction for their life, right? And this is where you'll see, they study women right? And that's not who they should be studying. They should be studying men. That's who they should be studying. But instead, they want to study women, right? Most women, don't study men, right? We just don't. It's like, why would we obsess all of this time trying to study men when that's not our realm? That's not our dimension. See, men always are trying to get into dimensions where they don't belong, right? And they figure if they get into a dimension where they don't belong, that they did something great, until they start realizing that, they're a misfit, right? And then when they become a misfit, they ask for grace and mercy for being a misfit and going into territories where they don't belong. Okay? Because that's the one thing I'm really getting sick and tired of, right? I'm getting sick and tired of these men talking about the Sigma woman, the introverted woman, the older woman, and even when they talk about astrology, right? They keep wanting to just keep it to women, right? And of course, we would think that there'd be nothing wrong with, them voicing their opinions out there. Okay? We would think that. Except when their words become propaganda, their words become gossip, their words become spell work, okay? And this is when, a lot of women are like, you really need to stop. Because what had been harmless in the excess becomes dangerous. Right? And it made me think about, okay, everything in moderation can be not necessarily acceptable, but tolerated. But when it starts to get extreme, then it starts to become damaging. Okay? So that was one area that I was thinking about, which, highly upsets me, because there's just no possible way that men can even wrap their minds on what it is to be a woman. They cannot. Their one cannot simulate the life form that actually lives and grows inside of the womb of a woman. Their one cannot duplicate the satisfaction that men get when they're having intercourse with a woman, even if they turn it inside out. Ask the transgender, they would tell you that they thought that they was going to get men to fall madly in love with them because they had turned themselves into a receptacle. Okay? But I'm not seeing it happening. And a lot of them are regretful. They're like they had a closer relationship with a man as a man. So anyway, enough of that. Okay? Enough of that. I'm only saying this because in my sunset season of life, right, it was brought to my attention the summation of my life. And you'll get a glimpse, a feeling, a knowledge of where you're going to go in the next realm and how potent you'll be when you get there. At least for me. It was going to be potent because I did not squander my energy. You know, you squander your energy in this lifetime and you die weak, yes. You know, you're probably going to be weak in spirit when you return back to source. So, another thing that had crossed my mind was the fact that, you know, what astrologists, you know, are trying to correlate the information of the influences of the planets, you know, at the time of our birth. Okay? And I've said it before, you know, as the empress of the fixed signs, fixed signs have a different kind of responsibility than, say, a cardinal. A cardinal has the responsibility of initiation, right? Fixed signs have the responsibility of sustainability, right? And because of the messed up way of this world, you know, I secretly have been telling them, you know, you could take me out if you want to, but you'll be taking out a spirit that was designed to be the fixed signs, the empress of the fixed signs, not just a fixed sign, not just a simple egomaniac fixed sign, no. But anyway, and the fixed signs means that I have all of the elements of Taurus, Aquarius, Scorpio, and Leo. I have all of those elements. And these are the elements that you know, that crave stability. That's why they're called the fixed signs. So when I noticed, you know, the patterns of my life, when, you know, I'm motivated, then it seems like energetically there's a whole wave of people who are motivated. When I'm prosperous, it seems like there's a whole wave of people who are prosperous. Right? When I'm broke, there too seems like there's a wave of people that are broke. So it comes with its responsibilities. But at the same time, because people don't understand that everybody, has a purpose and a mission in this life, and that's what these influences are. A lot of people want to grow into these influences, and that's cute, not sustainable, but it's cute. Right? Everybody wants to be a queen or a king, but then nobody wants to be under a rulership of a queen or a king. So make it make sense to me. Make it make sense to me. Because when there's a monarchy, there's a hierarchy. How can you say you want to be free, but then you live your whole life striving to be a queen or a king? Now, emperors and empresses, they operate on something completely different than queens and kings. All right? Because they have to spread their energy over kingdoms, over communities, over tribes. Wrap your head around that while I go work out, because I said I was going to work out at least a minimum of twice a week, and here I am forcing myself to do that second day.